Well, hello folks, it's Yamil Sued for Gun Stock Reviews. We're here in Phoenix, Arizona at the offices of Tim Forshey. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well. Hey, Tim, I got a question for you. Reloaded ammo for self-defense and boutique reloaded ammo, or goofy reloads for self-defense?
What do you think the answer to all this is going to be? Bad idea. And why is it a bad idea, you might ask? Well, there's about a million reasons it's a bad idea. Let me kind of do it categorically. So the first reason it's a bad idea, let's be honest, is reliability, okay? You and I are hand loaders. I've been hand loading for probably almost 40 years. You probably just about as long. And I take pride in my hand loads, although, to be honest, I probably shouldn't. But you know what? I've had a couple of squibs over the last 30, 40 years. I've probably fired well over 1 million rounds in that amount of time, but I've had a couple of squibs. So the rate's low, but it's a lot higher than it is for Winchester or Allen or you know, one of those guys. So you know, I don't have the high-speed cameras and all the things that they have, all the quality checks. So the quality control is not going to be as good for hand-loaded ammo. And if you're trusting your life to it in a self-defense situation, to me, that's pretty important, I would say. I would say the second reason is image, and I'm going to save that for last, although I think it's normally the second one I present because we're going to talk about your exotic or goofy hand loads, as you said. The third reason that I think hand loads are a horribly bad idea is forensics. What do I mean by that? That seems kind of obtuse. If my claim, if what I say happened is that you were this close to me and you were coming at me with a knife and I shot you 3 times with my 9mm, we can actually send the remaining lot of the ammunition that I have in my safe right now to my chosen self-defense forensics expert, and that expert can do laboratory testing to confirm that this exact type of ammunition that was in Mr. Forshey's firearm gives exactly that same powder tattooing and powder residue in my testing as Mr. Forshey's story claims. In other words, Mr. Forshey claims he was about 2.5 or 3 feet away. That's exactly the level of powder tattooing and powder residue that we see on the corpse is what we see when we do it testing in my laboratory. How do we make sure of that? I literally am carrying a particular firearm that's loaded. I have a spare magazine that's loaded. The remainder of that box is on the top right-hand shelf of my gun safe with exactly what gun it's in and when it was loaded into that gun. And if I'm in jail, my wife, my attorney, can get access to that ammunition and literally be able to follow a chain of evidence and prove that that's the same gun or same ammunition that was in my gun, and here's how it results, or here are the results that ammunition shows in a laboratory test, and they can therefore back up my claim. Now let's say I'm shooting hand loads in my gun. There is absolutely no forensically legal appropriate way to prove what ammunition was in my gun, what bullet was in the ammunition, what powder I loaded, what primer I used. All of those components are going to be changed, or I certainly can't prove that they weren't changed, and it won't hold up in court. So I'm losing a very important forensic tool that could actually exculpate me if I use hand loads. So that to me is very important, and I think a lot of people don't think of that. The third reason, what I said was normally my second, would be image, the political incorrectness of it, if you will. Can you imagine the prosecutor giving his closing argument and saying, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Forshey wasn't content to use off-the-shelf ammo, which is what Phoenix Police Department uses. No, Mr. Forshey wanted something that was far more deadly, so he loaded his own, probably in his garage, drinking scotch, watching pornographic movies at night, because that's the kind of person Mr. Forshey is, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm just going to have to sit on my hands and let all that go because I can't disprove any of that. So it just makes it very politically incorrect. It looks like, again, off-the-shelf ammo wasn't good enough for you, so you had to load your own. Why were you doing that? I mean, it doesn't look good to the jury. You look like a gun nut, right? And even us gun nuts don't want to look like gun nuts. So at Thanksgiving dinner, or certainly on the defense stand. So I would strongly encourage people to stay away from that. And in spades, the same thing goes for the whole concept of loading my own exotic ammo. The old 1960s, 1970s thing where you take the hollow base 158 grain wad cutter in your 38 specials and turn it upside down so you've got a giant hollow point bullet. Why? Why are you doing that? Just get a hollow point from the factory. Why would you be doing that? People making their own laser safety slugs, or putting a drop of mercury in and then covering it with epoxy, like some TV shows and movies have recommended. Just this kind of stuff is really, really stupid, and it makes you look like you're a crazy person. It really does. And you even see that at the mass-produced factory level. I mean, just go back to the late 80s, early 90s, and look at the whole Black Talon debacle that Winchester had to go through. Just the political incorrectness of that title and that packaging was horrendous. I mean, Congress convened hearings on this, and Winchester finally wised up and then decided to remove that product from the marketplace voluntarily. And then they reintroduced it with different packaging and a different color bullet coating about a year later, and they called it Ranger SXT, and now it's perfectly acceptable, and lots of police officers use the same round, but marketed differently. Why? Because of the public relations nightmare of having something that looks vicious, that has talons on the box, that look really mean to people, that sort of thing. We see this now. I wish I could remember the name of the company, but there's a company now that's manufacturing a self-defense round, and they call it the Honey Badger. And from what I hear, it's a pretty darn good round. But the problem is, once again, the marketing seems to me to be misdirected. All you have to do is have a person in the jury Google the word honey badger, and what's the first thing they get back on their cell phone that night? Honey badger, don't give them a shit. You don't really want to be thought of as the defendant that didn't care about whoever you shot with your bullet. It just doesn't look good. And so you've got to take that into account. And I'm sorry to say that because I hate political correctness, but you know what? It's a factor in our society. And if I'm defending somebody on the stand, I want to make sure that we have every advantage possible, not every disadvantage. So again, I could probably speak more on that and spend more time, Yamil, but I know we want to keep this short. But yeah, the general answer would be that hand-loaded ammunition for self-defense is a really, really bad idea.
Tim, thank you very much. That was great advice. I've never carried reloads. I've always used standard factory ammo. But we'll talk about ammo later on in another video. We'll go back about, which ammo to carry. Great. And expand on it later. But like always, guys, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel so we may continue to bring you the content you guys really like. And like always, please remain healthy, stay safe, and definitely have fun on the range.
Thank you for watching Gunstock Reviews. Please visit our website at www.gunstockreviews.com for more exclusive content. Please visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/gunstockreviews. Your contributions would be greatly appreciated and help us grow our selections and frequency of videos.